All right, so I'm continuing the restoration of this Magna table saw and jointer combo. If you don't know, Magna Engineering, Magna American, Yuba, they were manufacturers of the Shopsmith line of tools. And this was one of the tools that was made as sort of a parallel line of products. And I need to do something about the table surface here. It's a little bit messy. There's some rings here from somebody's beer, I suspect. So I need to sand the top down, get it nice and clean, and then that leaves me with the question, what do I do next? Well, I could use the classic paste wax treatment. I could even use, a nanotechnology like carbon method. But instead, I've been waiting on a brand new product that is being introduced by ShopSmith right now, a product called ShopSlick. And I was just sent this product, and we're going to take a look at it together. So it arrived in a tube. And the first order of business for me was I reversed it and put it back in the tube to see if I could remove some of the curl. And it is at least curling in the direction that I want. What we have here is a super thin, self-adhesive, ultra-high molecular weight plastic material. The CEO of Shopsmith USA, the current company producing Shopsmith tools, helped to develop this product years ago for another project that he was working on, and he thought, wow, this would be a great thing for woodworking, and so lo and behold, they're bringing it to market. It's ideal for cast iron surfaces, planer beds, jointer beds, and fences, cast iron table saw tables, tables on disc sanders and belt sanders, things such as that. Now, most of my Shopsmith tools have aluminum tables on them, and so they're not going to get the corrosion and rust that we get on cast iron. And so I was thrilled to receive this because I learned about it around the same time I was purchasing this saw. So to prep the surface here for this product, I need to do some sanding. I have a random orbit sander or 2 or 3 over here, and I'm going to sand this down, do a little wet sanding by hand, clean the surface off completely, and then we'll be ready to use this product. I just picked up an inexpensive sander because I'm going to dedicate this one to metal. If you've never done this sort of thing before, it seems intimidating, but it's actually pretty straightforward. And you would have a hard time doing permanent damage, denting or grooving a cast iron table with the standard bonded abrasives that we use. Just don't start with anything too coarse. Now I'm going to take this insert out because I don't want to damage it. I have another idea for preparing this because I will be applying the ShopSlick over this surface as well. So I think I have this about where I want it. The one thing I have to be careful of is I'm going to be wiping off this WD-40 and then cleaning it off with mineral spirits. Now, as soon as I do that, there's a chance that we're going to get some flash rust on here. Believe me, in this humidity around here, it can happen. So the temptation is to clean this off and throw some paste wax on. I should probably put my paste wax further away from me because it's such a habit. But we'll clean this off. What I discovered was there's a few spots on this table that have some, I don't even know how to describe them, not exactly gouges, but at least we'll call them gouges. And quite a number of stains that are not going to come out. I thought perchance that some of this was maybe glue, and it may have been at some point, but there's deeply penetrated stain that is not going to come out. It doesn't matter for what we're going to do here. I just want this surface to be as smooth and clean as possible. I won't be putting the ShopSlick down into the miter grooves, although that could be interesting, but we won't do that today. The other thing I need to do is I've got to put this product over the table insert as well, because my insert as it is sits slightly low. I wouldn't want to add the thickness of the ShopSlick on top of where it's currently, or in addition to where it's currently seated. So we're going to put this over all of it. Now, one other thing I got to consider here, and I'm not sure what the best practice might be, do we try to lay this sheet down on everything all at once and then cut out the miter slots? Or do we do a section at a time? I could see that there might be some wisdom to doing a section at a time. I don't know, we'll just see what happens. A little bit of WD-40 down into the miter slots, and I don't want that to affect the adhesive on the back of the ShopSlick, and so we will clean out those slots as well. Also, there's a little bit of a step here where my table insert fits. I know that got a little bit of WD-40 in it as well, so we need to make sure we get that clean. I guess what I'm saying is any surface that you think you might pick up some oil, you don't want it on the tool, you don't want it on your fingers. Let's get it off now. Table insert, I'm going to clean it off with some Blue Magic metal polish cream. Now, I learned this from John Dalton, who has restored numerous Shopsmith tools to just beautiful luster. And he uses this very product. And so we'll just use this to clean these off. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that everything is dry here. This was a good idea. You can actually see it evaporating on the surface. And if I stand here for a few minutes, I can probably even see the rust forming. Okay, so I have decided I'm going to do this in sections. I will do this part here first, just as a practice run. And then I might do the rest of it as one go. At the very least, we'll do the middle and then the end. If I do this right, I have enough left over to do at least the bed on the jointer over here. So I'm hoping we get this in the first go. Now for this, I'll be using a razor blade. We do have to get a nice sharp cut where we are meeting the edges. And in fact, we've got to bevel it slightly so that we don't have any overlapping in the miter slots. Otherwise, the miter gauge is just going to knock this off. Yeah, that leaves more than enough to do the jointer, I believe. Make sure that this isn't a better, nope, this would be the best use of the material. Now, as we cut this, we want to make sure that we cut it a little bit wide so that we can have a little bit to trim later. And I'm just going to cut more or less right down the middle of this miter slot. If I miss the middle, that's okay, because I'm overhanging on this side a bit. I'm a little scared. I don't want to get any bubbles in this. I've got easily a 1/4 inch or so extra on the front, which we can trim. Trying hard not to get bubbles, which I see bubbles. That seems to be working reasonably well. Well, it's really interesting. You can see when it makes contact with the cast iron. I got a bubble. You can see it. You can see the adhesive. So as you can see, I've got a few bubbles. I'm not sure what effect they will have on the performance, but I've hit on an idea. I don't know if it's a good one, but I'm taking my razor blade and just giving the bubble a bit of a poke, give it an opportunity to let its air out. And that's working. I don't know if that's going to negatively affect the longevity of the ShopSlick, though. See what I'll cut down, favoring this edge of the miter slot. Things are really going to get tricky here as I try to apply it over the top of this as well. Well, Got a fun noise. Oh, got a big bubble. So it's almost as if I'm trying to prevent it from touching the surface. I'm pulling it up, keeping it tight here, and then only applying it when I burnish it. Got a little bit of a bubble there. Okay, that was better. That was better. Now we can smooth that out. Might as well introduce the first scratches into it. Okay. You know, what's funny is I'm sweating right now, and I'm thinking, oh, I better not drip on my cast iron. I guess I can now. And did a horrible job trying to copy that bevel. Probably would have been wise to have this wrap over that edge, since there is such a distinct chamfer here. Might as well cut out the openings in the insert while it's being held captive. It's kind of wild how substantial this stuff is. I kind of thought that it would be relatively thin, you know, like maybe like clear contact paper or something like that. But man, no, it's definitely thicker than that. Okay. Oh yeah, I gotta cut out for my my screws here as well. I may have been too generous with my overhangs. Fortunately, there's a little bit of extra backing on here, so getting this to come off the backing is really simple. Gosh, I got such a mess right there. That's not going to look good no matter what I do here. Oh gosh, this is so slippery. It's been a few minutes. Let's see if it wipes off. I thought for sure I would have to use some solvent, and maybe I will to get a little bit of that ghosting off. But how cool is that? I wouldn't have done that with my cast iron. That's for darn sure. All right, so there's a couple unanswered questions yet and some things that you need to determine. The first one is, how will mag lock devices work on this? I don't happen to own any. I am a fan of the Bow featherboard and the standard Shopsmith featherboard, so I don't have any of those. I would suggest to you that you wouldn't want to lock them down and then twist them in place. I think you'd want to unlock them to reposition them. In any case, but that, who knows, that could scuff the surface of this. Another question or thought is, if you apply this to the top of the table saw, should you also apply it to the bottom of your grooves? Well, if you don't have T-slots, maybe so, because the protractor on your miter gauge is now sitting just a hair higher than where it normally sits. So raising the bottom of the slot up slightly might make sense. Alternatively, you could apply ShopSlick to the bottom of your miter bar, which would have the exact same effect with a lot less effort. With a T-slot miter gauge, I believe that's the way you're going to want to go, because you don't want to interfere with the position of the washer and the grooves in that slot. Now, if you apply this to your jointer, your outfeed table is now sitting a little bit higher than it normally is. That means your knives aren't in the right position. So if you have a traditional jointer with an adjustable infeed and outfeed bed, you're going to lower your outfeed bed ever so slightly. If you have a Shopsmith jointer, that means you're going to loosen the knives and raise them slightly. Again, go through all the normal alignment methods you would with your jointer knives, and then that'll set it up for your future success. I'm sure there's more uses of this than any of us have even thought of. I look forward to hearing more about that from you and from Shopsmith. In the meantime, my plan is to cover every cast iron surface that I have with this, because I do have some tools that sit in storage for long periods, and when I get them back out, even if I cover them with wax, there's always an issue. And so I'm really thrilled about this. I do think I'm going to plan on continuing to put a coat of paste wax on these surfaces, not only for a little bit additional lubricity, but I always figure that that is a sacrificial surface and is easy to restore. But in the meantime, this table is slicker than it's ever been. So nice work, Shopsmith. I look forward to learning more from everybody about their use of ShopSlick, and make it a great day.